It's 6:30. I'd like to call to order the Charter Township of Oxford Board of Trustees regular meeting for Wednesday, August 11th, 2021. Would we all rise and pay respects to the flag, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, noting of the roll.
Ferrari,
Here.
Dunn,
Here.
Payne. Here. Mr. Nold is excused. Wright,
Here.
Charles,
Here.
Curtis.
Here.
There is a quorum.
Thank you. I look for an approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with removal of item 11F, and we'll put that on our September meeting. We'll have a full board to discuss it.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari,
Second.
a second by Trustee Payne. Any questions? Roll call.
Trustee Dunn. Yes. Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes.
Clerk White, yes. And Trustee Charles.
Yes.
I didn't know I don't think I needed a roll call for that. We got one.
Josh.
Here's some more practice. Approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion with the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Charles. Any questions? Hearing none, this one's a roll call.
Trustee Charles.
that. Yes.
Clerk White, yes. Supervisor Curtis.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
And Trustee Dunn. Yes.
Item number 6, public comment on items not on the agenda. Any public wishing to speak? Sir? Brian, how are you?
Good, thank you. Good evening, Brian Cloutier, Director of the Oxford Public Library. I just want to share with all of you that I did get the memorandum for the budget hearing, and I've wrapped up all the work on our 2022 budget. I'll be taking that to my board next week, and then I'll have all of that information over to the supervisor for inclusion in your budget process. Additionally, I just want to also share with you that after the last township meeting where I was here to talk about the upcoming bond proposal, I did have the opportunity to meet with the supervisor and your township planner along with our architect, and we did discuss some of the concerns that were brought up at this meeting, as well as some of the concerns that were brought up among trustees. And I can share with you that as a result of that meeting, there were some things that we had kind of thought about in our peripheral, but we never really gave them serious consideration at this juncture. However, since that meeting, we have gone back to the table. Our architect is actually redrafting the youth edition. We're not making significant changes to it, but we are pulling it away from the property setback enough that in the future, if we needed to, we could put in a service drive to our back parking lot in order to comply with that. We're not provisioning to actually put the service drive in right now because the school is going to allow us to continue to use their driveway, but we are planning a modification to the plan. Again, not significant, but enough to allow for that should we need to do that in the future. We will be losing about 500 square feet of space as we do that, but we're also considering a modification to then move that room back further to the west where our staff parking lot is right now. So we're kind of bringing things this way. We've not taken off the books yet the addition to the south, which would be along your property line, the park's property line. But obviously, when we get to that point, we will address that, and if we need to make modifications to that or even remove it, we'd be more than happy to entertain that. So that's where we're at right now. I just wanted to bring you up to date on that, but we are taking your recommendations into consideration, we respect those recommendations, and we're trying to bring everything into play so that everybody can be happy with this. Because at the end of the day, it is the Oxford Public Library, it's your building, and we want you to be happy with the design as well, so thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
I'll make this announcement one more time since two people have just walked in there. This is the time for public comment on items not on the agenda. So if you have a copy of the agenda and you have a comment on an item that's not on there, now's the time to make it. Come on up to the lectern, identify yourself, your address, please.
Yes. Good evening. I am Mariana Forrest. I am a resident in the township since July 2016. And this is my first time where I participate in one of these meetings. I'm coming here with great emotion. I actually thought that I would have an opportunity to say something at the end of the meeting, but since the rule asked that I have to say first. My husband and I are here. We live at the north side of the township on 8807 Oaks Lane. I'm retired. We are residents in the United, I'm a citizen of the United States since 1977 I came, and in 1983 I became a citizen, so I'm almost 40 years here. I'm an engineer by training. I'm retired. I work in the auto industry. And we love America. We are patriotic people. We love our regional country, Romania, but we love the country here. And we want to do the best we can to protect our freedoms. We are observing that there is basically a takeover going on of our country, possibly by foreign races, foreign powers, but also by the internal people that don't understand what is going on. So I brought for you here some news that I came across very recently, like as of yesterday, and I wanted to make sure I inform you about. There is apparently, due to the COVID-19 situation, which more and more evidence comes out that it was basically a ruse to lead to possibly taking people's freedoms away. The lockdowns that just one ended, but they're really never ending because they are part of a much bigger plan. I'm extremely concerned, and I'm aware of what is happening in other states. We are what they call a blue state. When I came to America, this was not a blue state. But anyways, this is not political. This is about people's freedoms. So we became aware of some documents that were made public, or not. They were, but they were not known, possibly. There is a CDC, COVID-19 interim operational considerations for implementing the shielding approach to prevent COVID-19 infections in humanitarian settings. This is a July 20 document that I haven't heard about until now. In fact, I have a copy of it here. They're talking about the possibility of taking people out of their homes, separating them and putting them in camps. And actually, this is discussed in an editor's choice document, which I brought copies for. CDC COVID document discusses relocating high-risk individuals to camps. So we are personally of the opinion that people have to have a medical freedom of decision. Right now, there is a lot of evidence that the vaccination is dangerous. A lot of people have health problems and die. The information is being censored and kept away from the people. And we think that it is very possible we noticed that 48371, our zip code, is always the highest number of cases. But these cases were driven by a PCR test, which has recently just been decided by recognized by CDC to not have any value. They manipulated data based on the number of cycles in the test. So right now, we wonder, we haven't heard of anyone dying in our neighborhood or through our friends and connections. So we wonder why is this zip code, I don't know how big it is and if it's the entire township or part of the township, but it is possible that people here would be arrested or removed from their homes. And this document, which I have here for you, talks about some authorities, possible military, possible police, we don't know. They would come to the house and they would take you away. They would also be allowed to bring people in your home, people that are supposedly not at risk, and take the people that are at risk in camps. This is a very, very dangerous situation. We have lived under communism in Romania. We know what communism is. We recognize a pattern because my family has been expropriated. They have been persecuted. A lot of our relatives have been jailed. So right now, what is happening in the United States is very, very dangerous, and many people do not recognize the pattern. And we understand that it's very difficult to notice a pattern when you have no experience with it from before. So I brought here with me from the Epoch Times comment, the Reader's Stern, a gentleman from Tennessee who is a historian, has been described what the Cultural Revolution signs are. And he has 12 of them, and they all match what is happening.
Okay, Marianne, I want to explain something. Normally during public comment, the public is given 3 minutes to speak about a topic. If you are concerned about these documents being reviewed, you can call my office, set up a meeting, we'll talk. But our 3-minute time limit is for all public comments. But if you're interested, you can set up and call me and we'll talk a bunch of documents.
So I would like, if I can, just 30 seconds, what I want to say because of all of this. I'd like this committee to consider the following. Refuse federal funds if you haven't accepted them already. Refuse approving resettlements of whatever illegal or refugees or whatever. See the Alma case, there is a case here in one of the neighborhood, in the community next to us. Reject accepting mask mandates, vaccination mandates, and passport mandates. And call a meeting with a local sheriff, informing them about these dangers, and request that they pledge to not enforce any unconstitutional mandates. Also for this body of committee to consider issuing a resolution for the township to reject the CRT, the critical race theory situation, and also, if possible, in the near future, establish a township Second Amendment sanctuary. So everybody here will be protected. Communism is here, and everybody who thinks that they will just have an important function if they cooperate will be very disappointed. Everybody is in danger. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
And I will leave with you the documents I brought.
Thank you. Any other public comment that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 7, the second reading, 7A, Sewer Ordinance Agreement 107A.007. Second reading. Any questions?
I move to adopt ordinance 107A.007, amendment to chapter 62, article 1, section 62 through 81, of the Oxford Charter Township Code of Ordinances as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Payne. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Treasurer Ferrari,
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles,
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis,
Yes.
Trustee Dunn,
Yes.
and Trustee Payne.
Yes.
7B, second reading, water ordinance 105B.009. Are there any questions on that?
I move to adopt ordinance 105B.009, amendment to chapter 62, article 2, section 62-41G, subsection G, to the Oxford Charter Township Code of Ordinances as presented.
Second.
Moved by Treasurer Ferrari, seconded by Trustee Payne. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Trustee Dunn,
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari,
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles,
Yes.
Trustee Payne,
Yes.
and Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Okay, item 8, Fire Department, 2021 budget amendment. Who wants to address that, Pete? Oh, Lindsay.
Hi.
Aye.
So it's about halfway through, or it was halfway through when I started doing this. I wanted to get everything straight because we had, the voters had increased the millage from up to the 4.5. And so most of this that you see, the differences are adding in the revenues, and then I just cleaned up the expenditures so that some of our accounts were in the negative, and it reflect close to what I think we would be by the end of the year. That's my first time, so.
Okay. Are there any questions on this budget amendment by the Fire Department?
I move to approve the amended 2021 Oxford Fire Department Fund 206 budget with revenues and expenses balancing at $5,459,376. Attached to the spreadsheet as appendix to the minutes.
Second.
Moved by Treasurer Ferrari, seconded by Trustee Payne. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Dunn,
Yes.
Trustee Payne,
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari,
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Supervisor Curtis,
Yes.
and Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much.
Okay. All right, item number 9, Sharp Engineering Report. Well, you're gonna be here for a while tonight, aren't you?
Well, I'll start off with one thing. There was an email that was sent out, I believe it came from Mr. Throne. It was regarding the work that's being done on North Oxford Road on the 13-acre vacant piece. There is about 800 feet of safety path over there that is going to be removed and then replaced. It's going to be out of service beginning either this Friday or maybe about Monday of next week. And it'll be out of service till around the first week of September in order for them to do their grading activities, which will lower that path a little bit. Right now it's just really high above the road, so North Oxford Road is still a steep road, don't get me wrong, but it's gonna lessen that slope that's over there a little bit. So we'll have barricades up and things, so that's for you guys to know and for the public, just in case anybody was wondering. I know Joe's gonna touch on a lot of the other safety path items that are on the agenda tonight, so I won't do that. And then, almost sound like a broken record, but the Westlake and the Enclaves, which are both developments by Mr. Monaco, the paving is supposed to begin on those next week, and should be done in about a week after that, after they begin. So they're gonna be putting up a temporary concrete batch plant on North Oxford Road here. Those roads are actually gonna be done with concrete instead of asphalt, so that's gonna be
On
interesting.
Granger Road. It's gonna be set up on Granger Road.
Oh,
The concrete plant?
yeah, I thought it was on Dunlap on the property.
I'm sorry, Dunlap Road. You
Yes.
said North Oxford.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I apologize. On Dunlap Road.
I
Sorry.
said it wrong too.
Yeah, we both got it wrong. So that should be interesting, just a couple of concrete roads in here. I guess that the way prices are nowadays, that concrete is competitive with asphalt. So those projects are going, will be happening. There's a few other projects around town that haven't quite come to the site planning process yet, but there's some new properties that are being looked at by developers for residential developments and actually some commercial developments too. So
Things are definitely continue to happen out here, so, you know, the water and the sewer systems, you know, we need to keep our eyes on those. And just be happy to answer any other questions regarding development projects or something.
Any questions for Engineer Sharp? Yes, sir, Mr. Trustee Dunn.
On our agenda tonight, we have safety path going from Westland to Market Street, West Bay Shore.
Mhm.
Has there been any consideration to do it at the same time as Monaco for, maybe we can save some money?
And we'll discuss that, I think, when Joe gets to it.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
But that's exactly what we did, Bill.
okay.
We're pairing that with Monaco, and so that's how this pricing came together the way that it did, so it'll be the same contractor for both projects.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Any other questions for Engineer Sharp? Seeing
All right,
none?
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item number 10, under unfinished business, A, the American Rescue Plan. We formed a committee to determine, or to make some recommendations on the use of these funds. The use of these funds don't have to be earmarked until December of 2024. We wanted to get started right away because we possibly have some candidates for some use of these funds. So the first stab at it, I'll turn this over to the chairman of your committee, whoever that was, and they can speak to the topics.
We did not have a chair.
I nominate Clerk Wright to be the chairman of the committee.
Geez,
That's not on the agenda.
I've heard that before. Curtis, can you speak to those?
Yeah, I'll take the,
Thank you,
I'll
sir.
have the heat of the congratulations.
Yeah.
But yeah, the board assigned Trustee Payne, Trustee Dunn, and myself to look over the potential funding for the American Rescue Plan funds. And what we did is we took the suggestions that were submitted to the Township Board by the board members, and when we met, we tried to narrow this down to exactly what we felt was a proper use of the funds. And we looked at it from a 50% funding level at this point. And as you'll see on the screen, I'll blow that up a little bit too, so people in the audience can see what we've come up with. We're looking at giving $300,000 for sewer line extension. That would be basically in the northern part of the township up by Meyer and the railroad area. Then we have a filter vessel in the water treatment plant here that needs to be refurbished, and it's estimated to be about $250,000 based on the other three that we've repaired at that cost. And then we looked at doing a gravel or a bituminous overlay on Drainer Road from Newman down to Sanders because it's a well-traveled road, and we felt that that's something that would be needed. Just as a side note, we used tri-party funding to fund the overlay back in 2009 from Newman Road out to M24, and that's lasted pretty good for the last 12 years. We also decided to put some money into electric vehicle charging stations. CJ has informed us that that's something that Edison gives rebates for the funding of the station, but not for the installation of it, and also for like the monthly charges. So that's something that can still be used for the charging stations. Then we looked at putting money into the expansion for the fire department for the 3.25 acres that the township is required in the northern part of the township. By developing that site, that would potentially lower the fire ratings for the northern areas of the township. And then we decided to put $20,000 into contributing to fish. But since then, fish has indicated that we looked at it from the standpoint of feeding the community, but fish indicated that they really don't need the monies for that aspect, but they do need it for like rehabbing housing that needs it, paying people's mortgages that are possibly in foreclosure. So I still think the $20,000 maybe is even a low amount, but it's definitely beneficial for that organization. There will be potentially another $1 million that could be available once the census is finalized. But as we go forward, you'll see that there are 4 criteria, and potentially some of these won't qualify, like the overlay and Drainer Road. But we wanted to just spread the money out to try to get the best benefit for the township. There was some concern too that, that some of these won't benefit the whole township, but on the other hand, some of the monies are earmarked for certain specific purposes. So As an example, the sewer is only available to the people that are living in the areas that have sewer available, but that's one of the criteria to qualify to get the funding. So this is what we did as a committee, with the understanding that we knew some of these may not qualify, but we put that as a disclaimer at the bottom of this memo to you as the board. So if there's something else that you feel needs to be on there that isn't, I do want to mention also, I did talk to Parks and Rec Director Davis today, and he said if there's a possibility for funding, he would like to replace the floating dock at the Stony Lake there at an estimated $30,000. He also said he needed to purchase a new tractor, John Deere tractor, I think it was, because the existing one was
1997.
yeah, about a 25-year-old piece of equipment. He estimated it to be about $60,000. And he said even if the funding isn't available or qualifying, that we would still, well, he would still put that in his 2022 budget for making that purchase and repair on the dock itself. So he just wanted me to forward that on to the board for consideration if that's something that could earn the potential for funding for the art plans. So I don't know if Trustee Donner or Trustee Payne has anything more to add. They'd like to.
Do you have any more to add?
I have a question on where do we go from here?
Well, I can answer that question. Right now, I would keep this list recommendations open. That the list is not due to be earmarked until December of 2024. If selected, the funds don't have to be spent until December of 2026. What I have learned over the past few days, MTA, SEMCOG, they're all working on expanding the 4 categories that the funds can be earmarked for. As an example, item number 3, bituminous overlay, does not qualify. They're trying to work on some road repair allocation, but yet today it is not there, so we have to wait. Same with site plan and land balancing for the property, so we keep it on our list. If we think of something that we can change or add or customize, we send it to the committee and let them work on it. And when we get closer and more final definition of what the categories are you can spend the money on, that's when we would probably look for a vote. Number 1, we don't have the money yet.
Can we bring it back to committee before, to shore it up once we find out which things are not allowed?
That's what I'm
And
suggesting.
so we can, add or subtract.
That's what I'm suggesting, yes.
Okay.
Trustee Dunn.
Could I suggest if anybody has any questions or recommendations that they get a hold of the chairman of the committee? And let him compile the list. That would
Okay.
be clerk, right?
Mr. Curtis had a question.
Okay, Trustee Charles.
So, Chairman Wright, since you're the target right now, I might as well continue. So you said 50%, that this represents potential 50% of the total amount that we would receive as a non-entitlement unit, right?
That's my understanding, 50% now, and then once the census is finalized, they'll either give you additional funds or reduce the funds that's projected.
So potentially that 300,000 for the sewer line would be 600,000, is that right?
No, not necessarily. It depends on if the second round of monies that were approved, the committee recommended 300,000 more, and then the board would approve the 300,000.
And you would like more input from everybody regarding these items and other items?
Me personally, as the community member and the designated chairperson, I'm open to suggestion. I work with the board and for the board, for the residents. So if you got better ideas than this and it works for the rest of the board, then by all means, my opinion.
I wasn't thinking better, I was thinking additional.
That's fine with me.
Would you take recommendations from the public?
I don't see why it would hurt, because we can always, as a committee, decide whether we want to recommend it, and number 2, whether it qualifies.
Okay, Trustee, our treasurer Ferrari had a question.
Question, on the electrical vehicle charging stations, at least the new legislation, that infrastructure bill going around, the $1 trillion thing that we're looking at, that's gonna be addressed in there. So the committee may want to look at that, supposedly They've got a whole section just on that. We get the, when they're doing the roads and the bridges and all that stuff. My main suggestions I'd like to do is that Parks and Rec, they've taken a lot of lost money for COVID, and that's kind of what's for lost public sector revenue. Give them a shot of some of the money. Kyer Lanes will relieve their sewer bill. That was a perfect example, because we relieved their sewer bill because of COVID. Our sewer fund should be made whole for that expense. And I'd like to see us help out the businesses. Personal property tax, those that aren't exempted, or don't give any other credit, maybe allocate some of the monies to, or either a percentage of it, to pay off the personal property taxes. Give our businesses a break, since they're the ones that really hurt the whole pandemic. Those are my suggestions.
Joe, if somebody other than Collier Lanes has a problem, I could see the floodgates opening, or are we to just pick out?
Okay, I'm gonna stop everybody right here. This is why we have a committee. This is why we presented these recommendations to the committee. If you disagree with what the committee has recommended, resubmit your suggestion, as some of these have to come off. They may be considered for placeholders. The contribution to fish will need to be spelled out, housing rehab only. The bituminous overlay will have to be removed. That's a lot of money to consider for other considerations like Joe's talking about. Electrical vehicle charging stations, while the electrification of the United States is being pushed forward, it's not going to be dropped down into our community to have two out in front of our building. So I don't even know if that falls in the plan. So let's keep our plan fluid right now, accepting all recommendations from the citizens, from the board, and get them to the committee, let them adjust the list. My suggestion is, if it doesn't qualify in any of the 4 items, take it off, save it to the side. If the qualifications change, we can then review it again.
Mr. First?
Yes, sir.
So in that same spirit, can you communicate what those guidelines are?
I
Because
did.
I think there's issues. Well, I mean, maybe a written memo, here are the guidelines, what can be or cannot be used.
Here, I'll show you.
Well, I know there's some on there, I saw that.
That's a short version of it. I can read you the long version of it, but you were supplied that in your packet
I read it.
months ago. Okay.
But it just sounds to me like we're not sure, otherwise the human department
No,
would show up.
it's very clear. It's very clear.
And very broad.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be, Jack, one of those things we submit and say yea or nay.
Right.
We might think a yea, they might say a nay.
Exactly. So we're just gonna take this list as it is right now, give it to the chairperson, let them maintain the list. If any new recommendations come in, we'll add them to the list. The ones that currently do not qualify, my suggestion is move them off to the side. Should the qualifications change, that way you can add them back on without losing them. Fair enough? Okay. Item 11, A, new business. Zoning Board of Appeals alternate appointment. Right now, the Zoning Board of Appeals has an opening for an alternate. And I reached out to some of the, I call them kids in the community, that have been in the community for a while, but are a whole lot, would like to learn more about government. Sarah Racer, who works for our fire department, currently lives in Oxford, and she's building a new home in Oxford, wants to be a member of the community, wants to learn about government, how to act on boards and commissions and committees, and she sent me a note and said, hey, if there's anything open, I'd like to apply for that job. So she sent her resume in, which should be in your packet, a letter of interest that said, I'd like to sign up for something to learn. And tonight, this board's pleasure, we can appoint her, the board has to appoint her to, or reject her, to the Zoning Board of Appeals as an alternate. Question, yes sir, trustee Don.
I move to appoint Sarah Racer as an alternate member to the Charter Township Zoning Board of Appeals, effective immediately with the term expiring December 31st, 2021.
Second.
Moved by trustee Dunn, seconded by trustee Payne. Any questions? Do we need a roll call for an appointment?
You don't need it, just,
No,
if you-
okay.
if you feel you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Hearing none, mine was an aye. We have now appointed Sarah as an alternate to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Okay, item 11B, Safety Path Master Plan. Joe, you're the chairman of the Safety Path Committee. If you'd like to address this for us, please.
Sure, thanks, Jack. Board members, in front of you is a list of our priorities, the safety path. We added some on, took some off, depending on what work was already done. We've kind of reordered a couple of them, added some new ones. Like priority number 1's gonna, excuse me, hopefully be done pretty quick. If you have any questions, we're here to answer for you.
I have a question. I know it's in Orion Township, and I know I mentioned it to Supervisor Barnett, but we have been battling back and forth for years to get a safety path on the east side of 24. On the west side of 24, currently, our safety path takes us from the center of downtown, the village of Oxford, all the way down to the chiropractic offices in Orion Township, past the Grace Premier Center. We need about 300 feet of safety path there. Is the committee working on that as a priority to connect the two communities?
First I've heard of it.
First I've heard.
Somebody has some input.
No, we have not approached Orion Township for a safety path extension there. I think some of the reasoning, at least from my thinking, is it's Orion's jurisdiction. Maybe we could suggest it. I mean,
Well, if we go back up to the priorities, do we still have Lapeer Road, M24, Oxford Village Limits of Railroad? So,
it's all in the north.
but we took it off. Lapeer Road south on the east side. It's not on there.
Number 4.
Number 4.
It's number 4, the railroad right of way.
Oh. Yeah, that's East Drainer Road to Indian Lake Road.
That's our connection, Orion would be there.
Okay, well, we're already connected to Orion Township. That's why I guess number 4, should we even have that up there anymore? We know that that's probably not gonna happen. Go ahead.
I think you leave it on there because it's a master plan, and I think it's something that the desire of the township is still there, even if you don't succeed.
Okay, but if our intent is to hook up to Orion, we could work with Orion and get them convinced that, hey, it's not on us to get an unattainable easement. Maybe it's on you to get a retaining wall to hold the hill back.
Well, they have 3.8 million in ARP money.
Yeah, and that you can't use for safety paths. So next question, just take it back to committee and I guess for information.
Sure. Yep. Clerk White will make sure that's on our agenda next time to discuss it. I move to approve the updated Oxford Township Safety Path System as recommended by the Safety Path Committee. Authorize Sharp Engineering to create 2 24x36 foam packed master plan maps. The cost for creating the maps to be expensed to account 297-852-821.000 Safety Path Fund engineering fees.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Payne. Is there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none, motion passed. Item 11C, Dunlap Road Safety Path Construction Funding Request. You had a
Just a
question?
point of order on the last motion, the spending of money, it might be beneficial to roll call that.
All right, I'll back up and we will call a roll call on item 11B, Safety Path Master Plan.
Trustee Don,
Yes.
Trustee Payne,
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes, and Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Okay, now we'll move on to 11C, Dunlap Road Safety Path Construction Funding Request.
Board members, as you know, CD's done a very good job working with us on grants on this connection. This is going to be connecting West Bay Shore to Market Street. There's a recommendation that we allocate $120,000 to finish this project. We are going to look at working with the developer to try to get the same vendor to obtain the best possible pricing. Any questions on that? I'll make a motion that the Charter Township of Oxford Board of Trustees authorize the completion of the safety path on Dunlap Road from West Bay Shore Drive to Market Street for a cost not to exceed $120,000. It is understood that Oxford Township will work with the developer from the Manors of Westlake to try and select the same vendor in order to obtain the best possible pricing. This expenditure is to be allocated from the Safety Path Fund, account number 297-852-890.000 contingency.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Payne. Are there any questions?
Question.
Yes, sir.
Is this money coming out of fund balance? So where's that from?
Yeah, this road come out of contingency.
It's already in the safety
Oh, yeah.
budget.
Oh, yeah, we got the safety path, we got money set
It's
there.
already in.
It's in there for a
All
while.
right,
I just added another
Any other
zero.
questions?
all right.
Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Trustee Dunn?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes, and Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes. Board members, the next item, we have some safety path condition repairs that we elected to budgeted. Working on repairs number 3. You can see by the list kind of what that includes. It's just normal maintenance that we're looking at doing. We have money allocated already in general fund of $100,000, but we'd like to allocate another $100,000, and then I have that earmarked for safety path maintenance. Hopefully get it done this year. If not, we'll have it ready to go early next year.
Joe, could you explain some of the repairs that need to be done? I don't want to call it maintenance, I want to call it repairs to conditions that exist.
Jim, since your folks are the ones that actually looked at it, can you come up and help address that?
Sure. What's that?
The
The actual repairs.
actual repairs to this, it's not maintenance, it's
Repairs.
repairs to,
Which one are we talking about?
yeah.
Which area?
All the dots.
All the little dots that you see on the screen, Bill. So we were requested, or we were approved by the board to go out and do an assessment of the safety paths. A few years ago, we addressed what we called the most high priority ones. These are kind of, let's say, in the middle now. But again, these are just large cracks that are formed in the safety path that could be trip hazards. Some of the areas that are in need of overlays because just ruts and things of that nature. Over here on Seymour Lake Road, behind these pine trees, it's like, it's worse than our gravel roads, So again, tearing out pieces of safety path, it might be 100 feet long, might be 200 feet. Obviously, the longest one is on Dringer Road, which goes all the way from Newman down to Sanders. That's a very highly used safety path there because of all the residential development around there. So, again, these are just areas that we continue to maintain. I think we have some work on the, it's not really the boardwalk, but it's the railing by, I'm drawing a blank.
Price again? Lake Point.
Lake Point,
Lake
that's
Point.
what I would do, Chris the King, I couldn't
Yeah.
remember. Lake Point, so just replacing some of those, the boards that are on there, some of the boards out here that are on the lookout of the Township Hall path. So just general maintenance repairs that need to be done to the safety path to prevent, trips and things of that nature.
Yes, sir.
Just curiosity, where do you come up with the dollar amounts for this?
That's the from the engineer.
Yeah, it should be in your packet, Mr. Charles. There, we call them priority 3 repairs, and we had it allocated, kind of identified where the locations are, and it comes out to be about $178,000 roughly, based on kind of today's dollars.
I guess to clarify, this from previous projects is where you take with the dollar amount to do the estimation, is that right?
Yeah. I mean, just kind of got a pulse on what's going on out there in the community and things. And, we can do it 2 different ways. We can say, let's do these repairs and have it, whatever the dollar amount comes in at, that's what it is. Or we can say we're going to spend up to the $200,000. And if we don't get to a couple, or if we have extra money, we can do a few more repairs, and we can do it that way too.
I think the big question to answer for Trustee Charles We rely on our engineer to come up with any cost estimate on any project we do. For example, the parking lot in the back. For example, the proposed sewer going up 24. An engineer cost is based on all the permits that need to be pulled, road commission, MDOT, WRC. Jim figures out a cost average of the cost of the bituminous materials, the removal of materials, tree removal. He gives us an engineer's estimate. Normally a little, it's tight, it's pretty darn accurate, but he does it on all projects that we're gonna go out and propose.
So it's based on your experience, and what the answer is.
Experiences, you know, just what we're seeing in the market conditions. I mean, as Joe mentioned, you know, we talked about it in committee level, in my opinion, and what would be best to get this thing ready to go and bid it out in January, February. That's when we'd like to do ours, because you're gonna get your best pricing then. If you try to bid something right now, everybody's so booked, your prices are probably gonna be much higher. So it'd be my recommendation that we kind of just get it ready to go and bid it in that time frame. And we don't know what prices are gonna be like. I mean, look at what lumber did, right?
Yeah.
You know, somebody does.
300%.
And then it come back down, you know, but who knows?
I'll make a motion, the Oxford Township Board of Trustees authorize the 2021 general fund budget amendment, transfer $100,000 from 101,000, 402.000, opening fund balance, to 101,299,933.297, safety path maintenance.
Second.
Moved by Treasurer Ferrari, seconded by Trustee Payne. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis?
Yes.
And Trustee Don?
Yes.
I'll make a motion, the Oxford Township Board of Trustees authorize the Sharp Engineering to create a bid document that encompasses all the priority 3 safety path repairs, that possibly negotiate a price of Birmingham seal coat for this work, to be complete as soon as possible. The negotiated price, if available, will be presented at a Township Board meeting as soon as possible for its consideration. These funds are to be expensed from 101,299,933.297, safety path maintenance.
Moved by Treasurer Ferrari. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Payne. Questions? Clerk Wright.
I do have a comment, and it's referring back to when we repaired the Brainerd Road Bridge. We did not send that out to bid, and we're doing the same thing here. So I have a concern that there's people out there that may be able to bid the project, may come in higher or lower, but it's a check and balance against this already one contractor. That's my concern, not supporting this motion.
Well, I understand that, but he's done all this work before, and that's why he's just giving you an estimate. The board may look at it and say, it's too high or it's too low. I just wanted somebody that's done this work for us to take a look at it, to get us somewhere where we need to be.
So we're not awarding a contract,
No,
President?
see what it says right there? The requested price will be presented at a Township Board meeting. At least we kind of know what the actual dollars we're dealing with.
So are we going out for bid?
We're getting a price from him for us to take a look at. Do we like it?
So we're not going out for bid?
No, if we don't like it, go for bid. If we like it, we take it. Keeps our options open.
Well, there's a motion on the floor with a second. If we vote this way, we will have them give us a price, and it would be presented to this board for approval.
Consideration.
Could you redo the motion?
Consideration.
No.
Well, let's vote on this motion.
Could you, I'd like to understand the motion, could it be repeated?
It's
right on the-
it's
right on the
in your
screen.
packet.
Could it be repeated?
Sure. That the Oxford Township Board of Trustees authorizes Sharp Engineering to create a bid document that encompasses all the priority 3 safety path repairs, and to possibly negotiate a price with Birmingham Seal Coat for this work to be completed as soon as possible. The negotiated price, if available, will be presented at a Township Board meeting as soon as possible for its consideration. These funds are to be expensed from 101,299,933.297, safety path maintenance.
There's a motion and a second. The question was,
So you get another stab at this.
roll call.
Trustee Payne?
No.
Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, no. Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Trustee Dunn?
No.
And Supervisor Curtis?
Yes.
So
Okay, the motion's 3-3, so that means nothing, there's no.
Okay, let's, can you put this on September?
Dies.
Can you put this on September for Mr. Knowles?
Trustee Dunn has a question.
I'll make a motion to do this while we put it out for bid.
Second.
We have a motion by trustee Dunn and a second by trustee Payne to go out and bid the repairs for priority 3 safety path. Any questions? Yes, sir. Clerk Wright.
Based on that, I don't know if Engineer Sharp, okay, you're gonna create the bid document and specs for all that, correct?
If this motion passes, yes, we'll
Yes.
put together our bid forms and the usual thing,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Trustee Charles.
So what Mr. Sharp just indicated, this is not a good time to go out for bids, based on potential prices. So how do we respond to that comment and then say we want to go for bids right now?
Supervisor Curtis?
Yes, trustee Payne.
I would maintain that it's gonna take a month or two to prepare the bid documents, and then we can wait and to send them out. We can make the direction to send them out in January
Okay.
or December, or whenever our engineer thinks it's the most appropriate.
So the motion would be for,
I think what trustee Dunn wants to say.
okay, I was talking,
Oh, sorry, Jim.
so let me finish.
Okay.
I believe the motion is for Engineer Sharp to set together the bid process to repair priority number 3 on the safety path and have those bids sent out. And then we would take those bids and consider to be repaired. This is August. You have September to get the bids out. They won't get back till October. The asphalt plant's closed November 15th. So and logically, you probably will not get them done in this 2021 cycle.
So is that all part of my motion?
That's part of your motion.
Supervisor Curtis,
Yes.
I would caution you that you vote on his bid, or on his motion as it was stated and seconded. And then if you would like, somebody would like to make another motion authorizing Sharp Engineering to prepare bid documents.
Okay, I'll call the roll for trustee Dunn's motion.
Just a little comment to that.
Yes, clerk.
As far as I know, the motion that was on the floor is the same motion that was voted down 3-3. And it's
No.
only changing Birmingham Seal Code to sending out this project for bid. Is that correct?
Whatever the work.
The motion, as stated, was to put out for bid the priority 3 safety path repairs.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So, you know, and that doesn't, it's not the same one. Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'll call the roll then.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Supervisor Curtis?
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari?
No.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
And Trustee Dunn?
Yes.
Okay, that motion does carry.
Okay, item 11E, 2021 budget amendment.
Jack, can I interrupt?
Yes.
Should we make a motion to have Engineer Sharp come up with bid documents? What is
I think that's what this motion did.
No,
No, it
No, that's what Susan
fine,
was
that's
saying.
what it is.
no, Mr. Dunn's motion was simply to put out for bid the priority 3 safety path repairs. That's it.
I'll make a motion, the Oxford Township Board of Trustees authorizes Sharp Engineering to create a big document that encompasses all priority 3 safety path repairs. These funds are to be spent for 101-299-933.297 safety path maintenance.
Okay,
Second.
moved by Treasurer Ferrari, seconded by Trustee Payne. Roll call, please.
Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Trustee Dunn?
Yes.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes.
That cleared up? Thank you.
And now,
Sorry. I made another mistake. 2021 budget amendment. This is mine, moving monies to pay for the sheriff's parking lot. We did not have the money in the fund. Joe went and robbed the bank and moved some money around, but now we have to authorize the movement of those funds.
What if we say no?
That's already done.
It's already done.
I'd like to make a motion that Charter Township of Oxford transfers up to $230,000 from the general fund to the building and site fund, to pay for parking lot improvements at 300 Dunlap Road. Furthermore, the building and site fund is to be closed as of December 31st, 2021. Any future revenues and expenses are to be budgeted within the general fund.
Second.
Moved by Treasurer Ferrari, seconded by Clerk Wright. Any questions? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Trustee Don.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes, and Trustee Charles.
Yes. Okay, item 11G. Fiscal year 2022 Township Board Budget Calendar. Would you bring that calendar up on the board for me, please? The calendar. There it is. Okay, the budget forms submitted to appropriate parties tomorrow. Each party will get their budget forms. We are using the BS&A budget document as printed. The departments submit their budget recommendations to me by August 19th. A budget workshop and regular board meeting on September 8th. A truth in lending budget hearing, notice to the public, that will be on September 15th. The township would meet again on 9/22, September 22nd, to adopt the 2022 budget. Once it's adopted, the village request report to the Oakland County Equalization, otherwise just learn the L4029 document, will be submitted. Any debt, Treasurer Ferrari memo, 9/15/2021. Parks and Rec, and the library's already done, he said. Yes, sir.
Jeff, we talked about eliminating the 15th, having everything done on the 22nd. That's still acceptable?
It's acceptable to me. I don't know if there'd be a motion, but we could also combine or think about combining the budget workshop with the public hearing.
Are we
Or
doing it the 21st?
everybody should look at their calendar because I know September is always an important month. So which ones do you want to combine, Joe? The
15th and the 22nd.
Okay, you need a motion to do that, or can I
22nd,
just
all
do
those
it?
are for you?
I won't be here.
Are you-
21st, would that work?
Wait, I've already got two won't be here. What date won't you be here?
22nd.
What date won't you be here?
I won't be here the 22nd, nor will I be here on the 15th.
The 21st, will you be here? Mr. Jones?
No,
Probably
Well, you
not.
won't be here on the 21st.
no, I'll be here for all of them.
Will you be here, Brad, for the 21st?
I doubt it.
How about the 20th?
No, I plan on leaving the 10th and coming back in about 2 weeks, so the 24th or so.
So it's all about you.
It is. Thank
Okay,
you.
now what is it about you? Al?
How about the 29th? Will that work? A week later.
That'll work for me.
Not for me.
It's all about you now.
It's all about both of you.
How about Bill and I do
I'll
it?
be gone for 2 or 3 weeks. I'm leaving on the 21st.
How about combining with our board meeting on the 8th?
No, you have to have it turned into the county by September 31st.
September 30th, probably.
Yeah. 30th.
But if we go earlier in a regular board meeting, you're still okay. Because you have to, but that Jack puts pressure on you, get everything done by the 8th.
All I can say is if you're not here, you got no say in it.
You know what? Let him have it on 22nd. If I have any complaints or bitches, you'll hear it before that.
I move to approve the 2022 Charter Township of Oxford budget calendar as presented and set a Charter Township of Oxford Board of Trustees special meeting for Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021, at 6:30 p.m. There you go.
Okay, so move to the calendar for me, please, Clerk Wright.
22nd.
So 8/12 is good, 8/19 is good, 9/8 is good, 9/15 is good, and we're condensing this calendar by reducing which dates?
9:15. So all that stuff will all be a part of 9/22.
Okay, so eliminate 9/15.
9/22. You're good.
You do
And
that?
combine that with
Do you give us
9/22.
7-day notice?
That just gives me another week to notice it. Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Treasurer Ferrari. I didn't hear the second.
I'll second
We have a second by Trustee Dunn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
On the same note,
Yes,
could we maybe next year do the budgets 1 month earlier, so we're not down to this time crunch? Would that be possible? I mean, I know that there's certain information that's not available, but I'm not really sure that 1 month necessarily makes that much difference in that information.
everything in the budget is tied down to the L 4029 form. That's due on the 30th, Joe? Is that when it is?
Yes.
The 30th of September.
I understand that.
So the more work we do earlier, the less accurate the budget is for September's working on it. Because that means you're gonna start working on numbers in June. In 6 months through the year for a 12-month budget. Because by August 1st, the department heads had to go through and give me their expenditures and the tax revenue generated for the budget by August 1st.
So you're working with 7 months rather than the 6 months, is what you're saying?
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And by law, we have to have certain things turned in on certain dates.
Oh, I'm aware of
Yeah,
that.
yep, revenues,
I knew
expense,
that.
we have to have those turned in. So that's why they're always done in September. As a trustee, I never took a day off in September.
Well, aren't you wonderful?
it. I've done this in
Good
December.
of you, Margie, that's, we're both
Yes,
good.
I have.
I know.
Oh, so you're trying to say one person's slacking?
Two. Item 11H, funding contributions request application form. Rod, you had this added to the agenda?
Yeah, trustees, I worked with Mr. Wright on putting this form together so that we would have a document for accountability when we give money to different organizations. So the idea here is to create a track record of who gets money, why they get money, that sort of thing, and to make sure that, as I said, that we have some degree of accountability when we contribute money. So the form is there in front of you. I think it's pretty straightforward. Mr. Wright and I went through it a few times. There's a little typo on there, copy of 501c3 document as an example, but that's just a typo. But it seems pretty straightforward. And I think our obligation as a board and as for all township employees to be aware that this form exists so people can fill it out. Any comments from Tina Gellman?
Any questions? Treasurer
Our
Ferrari?
ones we usually allocate money to are like the Northeast Oakland Historical Museum,
Or the Oxford Addison Youth or
yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But those are our standard ones.
Well, whether they're standard or not, we're just saying we want to have a track record of what's going where and who's authorized to ask for the money.
And Attorney Rentrop has requested that we do this.
Okay.
We're keeping track of why, who, what, and are they funded, are they actually proof of a nonprofit 503? 503?
501c3.
I was gonna say
It's just a typo.
C3. I was reading it. Any other questions? Clerk Wright, you look like you're.
Yeah, just hesitating there, but I would say that this wasn't intended for organizations like NODA and Pontiac Trail, OCTV. Those are basically self-funded organizations. Not that Youth Assistance isn't, or the.
Who's this geared towards?
Basically what you said right now.
Fish and,
Fish and,
So it's
North Oakland.
Oakland Addison Youth Authority.
Who's ever in our budget says contribution to,
basically.
those three items in there.
And Joe, if you look at the form, it's not onerous, it's pretty straightforward.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, real simple.
Okay, I just wanted to know what it was geared towards.
Second balance.
Okay, what's the board's pleasure?
We have a motion around here?
Well, I move to approve the request for contribution form as presented. Further, any organization that currently receives contributions from the Charter Township of Oxford General Fund, or any organization that may request contributions from the Charter Township of Oxford General Fund in the future shall complete the request for contribution form and submit the completed form to the Charter Township of Oxford supervisor to be placed on a future Charter Township of Oxford Board of Trustees meeting agenda for consideration.
Support, second.
Second. We have a motion by trustee Charles, a second by trustee Dunn. Are there any questions? Yes, sir, Treasurer Ferrari.
This is in addition to it being budgeted. So let's say we budget $5,000 for Northeast Oakland Historical Museum. They still have to fill this out.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
So to get the money,
To
we just,
get the money, they have to sign this.
We want to know how they're using it.
okay, okay.
Just, Clerk Wright.
You could also budget $0 that would necessarily require them to fill the information out to submit to us to get the approval too. So you can budget 0. You know, so giving a set amount every year, but that's the board's information.
It's always cleaner to have it in there though.
It's always cleaner to have this form filled out and it in the budget. Because if you show 0, it looks like lack of appreciation, lack of continued support. But if you don't have one of these in there, you don't know if their 501c3 is expired. You don't know that maybe they need more funds and contributions, maybe they need less. But if it's filled out, it'll be in the budget, and we'll just know they're 501c3.
Right, and we also know that the person requesting the money is authorized to request the money.
Chick, I like it because of the status. Let's say changes.
Sure.
Let's say something changes to a profit status. We wouldn't know that if we were just allocating and giving money year after year after year. This way you have to tell them, hey, you've changed status, you no longer qualify, whatever that may be.
So accountability is the headline.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor, and we went through the questions. Is there any more questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none. Item number 12, we had no items removed. Item 13. We have item 13 as public comment. If any public would like to make a comment, please stand up and feel free to address the board. Ryan.
Good evening, again, Brian Cloutier, Director, Oxford Public Library. There was a comment, excuse me, brought up earlier under public comments about the CDC developing like encampment areas for people with COVID. As your librarian, I just want to direct that I did some preliminary research during this meeting. My sources tell me that this is mostly false. However, there are some things that did stem from this back in November of 2020. The accusation about the encampments being developed in Tennessee, again, from what I could see briefly, and I don't have a lot of time to do deep research, but just in brief, shows that maybe that the state legislature has drafted a bill that will possibly allow hospitals that are having overflow capacities to build encampments outside of their facilities to house to house individuals to separate them during their quarantine period. But the encampment theory, I can pretty much with confidence debunk here tonight.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I guess the information the gentleman brought before is from Snopes. This is always saying that this is a conspiracy theory, so needs to be researched more, but for your information, I learned that this last Friday, the governor of Tennessee, I think his name is Bill Lee, issued an executive order, number 83, that allows the National and the State Guard to do this kind of operations in the state of Tennessee. So it needs to be researched further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No other public comment, Board of Trustees comments. I'm gonna start with Trustee Dunn.
I have none.
Trustee Payne.
Nothing.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Just a quick item. As we're looking through the whole recreational marijuana issue, let's please try to take a look at how other communities are dealing with it. At least what we're seeing now, at least what I'm reading, is we've got to be very careful with our process, because we're going to have winners and losers. And from what I'm seeing, at least from other communities, that the losers are bringing the communities to court and questioning the process and questioning why they weren't selected. And it's all being tied up in court. There's going to be tons and tons of legal fees. So as we're working our way through it, let's please keep that in mind. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Charles.
Sure, a couple things. Website looked different, nice and clean, saw that. Secondly, the Downtown Development Authority, just a quick update there. We've been meeting, talking about properties in town that need to be finished, things like that. We also have, tomorrow night, we have the concerts in the park, and that's going to be preceded by Deal No Deal. I'll be there, and I believe Mr. Curtis will be there. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
As well as a few other people, and the Oxford Bank is providing $3,000 in cash that we're giving to 3 local charities in this Deal No Deal thing. So if you get a chance, 6 o'clock downtown, and afterwards, 7 o'clock, we have the band playing. So hopefully people can get there. That has been a big improvement this year, Constant Park. In the past, it's been lightly attended. We've done a much better job this past year than all years I've seen in the past. Another thing here, since Mr. Farr mentioned the marijuana rules, I read an article the other day that it's about the Canadian rules, where in Canada they have such an abundance now of manufacturing that they don't know what to do with it, that there's some places actually turning into kitty litter. So, some happy cats, I guess. Last thing, I suspect that Mr. Knoll is not here because I was out there today and he was selling cucumbers, so I have some questions as to why he's not here.
It's on vacation.
Well, I know how he paid for it because I bought a cucumber from him.
Is that it, Trustee Charles?
That's it for now.
Clerk Wright.
Yeah, just to expound, the website, from my understanding, has been rolled out, and I think a good deal of recognition needs to go to Supervisor Curtis and to CJ Carnacchio for the effort that was made. We worked with, was it Kim Monkevich? Yeah, the website, there's a lot of work that went into that information, so it's been updated, so if you haven't seen the website yet, definitely check it out. It's definitely revamped and hopefully works well for the public and everybody else on that. Just one last thing, your township work package, if there's anything that we're missing, getting to you, just let me know that, so we'll get it straightened out for you, whether it's flash drives, hard copies, or whatever, so everybody is comfortable coming to the meeting with the information that they think we need. Thank you.
The best for last, I have a lot.
Oh,
Wait, I just read that first statement.
Oh, I've got 30 pages and it's only 20 to 8. Number 1, Sergeant Lenz from the Oakland County Sheriff sought grants and donations for a flagpole outside the sheriff office door. We worked together, CJ, myself, and Sergeant Lenz. The funds were donated by 2 residents of Oxford in the amount of $2,100. Yeah, to erect a flagpole with the American flag and the sheriff's flag underneath it outside the sheriff's door. So that will be going in. It's already ordered. The money is deposited in our bank. Secondly, we've reached critical stage. I'm working with Tom Berger and Gary Rentrop, the MTA. I'm going to be requesting the hiring of a building official. After we meet with the attorney and Tom Berger and work out the details, full-time, part-time, but we've had incidences that prove we need a building official. I can go into those in detail with anybody in my office if they'd like. Thirdly, Hans Rentrop and Atkins Needs Rentrop. Who am I missing? Allen. Sorry, Mr. Allen. He is working on options for the recreational marijuana. One member of our committee was not there, and it was not fair that that person didn't have input in the committee's recommendation. The attorney needs to look at some things, taking into considerations, things that Joe said, things that the village has implemented, things that Pleasant Ridge has implemented, and like communities. So he will have a few options for us to review, probably at the September regular board meeting. Fourth, we had CJ and I invited Senator Bear out today. We explained our sewer extension to the north. Our sewer extension to the north was rejected from Congresswoman Slotkin's plan, and we're still seeking funds to move that sewer extension to the north to service both commercial properties, break out some village usage, and create a northern district where we can service some communities that are in great need of sewer. Tomorrow, I'm meeting with Engineer Sharp, Attorney Rentrop, the Water and Sewer Committee, and we're meeting with about 15 landowners north of Harriet Street, and we're going to discuss a consent special assessment district for sewer. We continue to beg, borrow, and steal from Senator Bear, Commissioner Spiz, to get these funds to help this sewer extension. And lastly, the website recognition. This started off with a program where we recognized our website was not the best. And we called on the career technical education students from the high school, and working with the IT instructor in that end of the education, they worked on developing this new website. And I invite you all to go and look at it, check it out, click on it, work on it. It's really kind of neat. It did not cost us one dime. It was an effort that was started by the kids, finished by the teacher, and it's live today. We were talking about some sort of recognition. Sometimes these things cost people thousands of dollars to create, sometimes hundreds of dollars, but some sort of recognition we're going to come up with for the students and the teacher in that class. And that's all I have.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Payne, support by Trustee Dunn. All we need to do is have
Aye.
Aye.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. Adjourned. Thank you.